Okay. So in the last lecture, we saw the concept of a switch case. Okay. So today also we'll do one or two programs and then we'll move ahead and we'll be solving further problems, right? We will also going to solve the question bank, right? So that all of you can easily solve that. So again, I'll try to explain the concept of switch case, which we were dealing last time. So I think we saw one problem based on this, in which I think we wrote two, three cases, and that was the number to word conversion, I think. Okay. So if, for example, if the user will enter one, then it will going to display one like this, right? So what is the concept of switch case? Switch case basic syntax is like this. We write switch, and in the bracket, there will be, let's say, some integer value, and based on this value the switch statement will going to switch to different cases. So for example, if the value is 1, then it will going to switch to case number 1, and here we'll be having the lines of code, and the final line must be, the end line must be break must be there, otherwise after going to case number 1, it will not going to break from there, and it will also going to execute the further cases, which we don't want, right? Because based on the certain value it must execute only one case, it should not execute all the other rest of the cases. So we must write the break statement over there so that it will apply the break. Then let's say the case 2 is there. If the value is 2, then it will go to case number 2. Here we will write the break. If none of the cases will match, then it will go to default case. Okay, and here we can have the statement. So this was the syntax of switch case, and we wrote one program. Let's see what a few more programs based on this. So now we will see a program which will going to identify whether the entered character is vowel or not. Okay, whether the entered character is vowel or not. So you can write the question that, write a program to check whether the entered character is vowel or not. Write a program to check whether entered character is vowel or not. Vowel or not. So the vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. Right? These five characters are vowels. So if user is going to enter any of these characters, we will display the message that the enter character is vowel. Otherwise, the character is not vowel. Another thing, if the user will enter like this: A, capital E, capital I, O, and U, right? These are also vowels, right? Whether it's in the capital case or small case, right? This is vowel only. So we're going to consider both the cases. Now let's try to write the program. What I'll do, void main. Okay. Here I'll declare a variable of type character. So let's say I've declared char ch, right? And I will ask the user printf enter any character. Enter any character. So user will enter. I'll store. Now this is what character type, right? This is character type. So I'll use over here %c and %ch. Okay. When this line is written, what it will do, it will allocate 1 byte memory space. Okay. 1 byte memory space, and we can store a 1 byte data over here, right? And once we will say this one %ch, so at the address of the ch, the name will be given as ch to this particular memory location. Let's say consider this is at memory location 4006. So name to this particular memory location will be given as what, ch. This will be nothing but a variable that is the identifier to this particular memory location. So when we will going to store any character, it will be stored at this particular memory. That's why we write over here address of. That's ch. Now after this, what we can do, we can say switch based on the value of ch. Now you will tell me that's just now you told that in the inside the switch there has to be an integer value. So but here you are taking a character value. So how it will going to switch? See, when we are writing a character value, right? So it will going to convert that character to ASCII value, right? So it will be having certain ASCII value, and based on that it will going to jump to that particular case. But here also I'll be writing the cases like this. So for example, I'll write the first case as capital A. So if the user will enter capital A, right, or user will enter, let's say, small a, so it will convert this particular character into ASCII value. Even the cases character also will be converted to their ASCII value. So for example, capital A will be converted to 65, small a will be converted to 97, right? So if we will provide small a letter to this character, it will going to jump to this particular case, the second case, which is small a. Now the program can be written in this way, that for every letter you can write that this is not a, I mean this is a vowel if that case is there, and then you can write the break. Or I'll just I'll just utilize the concept of that break. If I'll not write the break, then the further cases will also be executed, and I'll just take the advantage of that free fall, and I will write at once all the cases, because I know if any of these characters are there, then the output must be what, a vowel letter. So that's why I'm writing all the characters. So I'll write over here case small e, case capital E, right? Case capital I, case small I, case capital O, case small o, then case capital U, case small u. And here we will write printf. If any of these characters are entered, we'll say vowel. Okay? And we'll say break over here. So I've written only one statement over here, and I know that if even if it will go to the first case, then also it will free fall, right? It will going to execute the other cases because I've not written break over there. So it will going to execute all the cases, and finally it will fall over here. It will stop at this particular statement. So if any of these letters are there, definitely that is a vowel, and we are displaying vowel, and then we are breaking. But if default is there, I mean, if none of these cases are matching, then we will going to printf not a vowel. Okay, and here we will close this. So this is a simple program by which we can check that whether the entered number is vowel or not. Whether all of you understood this? Any doubt in this? You want me to write on online compiler?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So let's see. So I'll declare char ch, okay? Enter any character, scanf. So I'll take %c ampersand ch, right? And then I'll switch based on the ch value. I'll write the case capital A, right? Case small a, case capital E, small e, capital I, small I, capital U, it. If you want to write in one line, then it has to be in one line. So here is the margin is less. If you want, you can try. It might give you the output. I'm not checked, but if you will write in one straight line, then definitely it will give you the output. Here I'll write break, and if none of these cases are there, then I want this default. Not a vowel. Let's see this. Vowel. Okay. One more time. Not a vowel. So I entered first D. Let me show you again. Let's say if I enter U, vowel. Okay. If I'll enter, let's say B, not a vowel. Right. So this is a program. Let me check whether in one line it will give. Here margin is less. No, its margin is less. Leave it. Okay, so whether all of you understood this? Okay. Now, next concept. Okay, one more program I would like to give based on this. This is also a very interesting program. I'll make one table. So you can write over here whether all of you perform that arithmetic operation based on this. That question all of you did. So let me write that question over here. Perform arithmetic operation based on switch case. So if user will enter plus, then it will have to do addition. If user will enter minus sign, then it will have to do subtraction. Whether all of you did this? Okay, okay. Now one program is there, let's say marks is there. Greater greater than equal to 90 and less than equal to 100. Outstanding. Equal to 80 and less than 90. Excellent. Greater than equal to 70 and less than 80. Distinction. If you remember, the same kind of question we also did with ladder, FLs, right? Now this we're going to solve by switch case. Solve by switch case. Greater than equal to 60, less than 70. First class. $50 and less than 60. Second class. Greater than equal to 40 and less than 50. First class. Less than 30, sorry, less than 40, fail. Okay, so we have to write this program. So we will take the mask from the user, okay, and then based on this we're going to display depending on the switch case. Okay, so let's try to solve this. I'll write over here void main. I'll declare int marks, okay, m printf enter mark scanf ampersand m. Now how we will going to write this particular program, because if you see here, if we will going to write, then it will going to generate 0 to 100 cases, right? And we will have to write for 0 to 100 cases. Clear? But there is a one simple trick. What we can do, we can write the 10 different cases which will going to cover all the 100 cases, right? Because this is there in the range. So we'll simply do what we will say, m is equal to m by 10, let's say. Okay, so let's say if somebody will going to enter 95, right? So m will be equal to what, 95 by 10. So it will going to generate 9. So it will go in the case 9. Clear? And then it will going to display outstanding. So what we are doing, actually we are just dividing that number by 10, and then now we can write the different cases. Clear? So we can switch based on this M, and we can write over here case number. We can start from let's say 10, case number 10, case number 9. So if anybody has got 100, then 100 divided by 10 will be 10, right? So that's why I'm considering case number 10 and 9. If both the cases are there, then what I'll say printf. If any of these particular case is there, then I'll say printf outstanding. Yeah, outstanding. And I'll say break. Then I'll write case 8. If anybody got between 80 and 90, so the case 8 printf excellent. So excellent, break. Then case 7. So for 7, that is 70 to 80, right? So I'll say over here printf distinction break. Then case 6, that means 60 to 70. I'll say printf first class. Okay. You can note down because I'll not be writing on the online compiler this one. And I'll say break. Then case, let's say fifth one. So the fifth one is 50 to 60. I can say second class, this one. So printf second class break. Then case 4. So 4 is nothing but 40 to 50. I can say printf first class break. Then case, if any number, case 3, case 2, case 1, case 0, right? So what I'll say printf break. What will be the default? If none of the cases matches, then definitely that number is invalid number. I'll just display invalid marks. Invalid marks. Okay. And finally, I'll close the bracket. So this is a program for this particular question, right? Same program we have solved by else if ladder case also. So it doesn't matter, you can solve by else if also, but if in the exam it's written that solve it by switch case, then you must solve it by switch case. Right? Any doubt in this particular program, you can ask me. Okay, whether it's clear, all of you, or you want me to explain it again? You can later type that program and you can just execute and see the output. Okay then. Now let's see the next program. Factorial of a number. Factorial of a number. So if anybody will enter a number we have to display the factorial of that number. For example, if somebody has entered n is equal to 5, then we must tell the answer is what? 120. So how we will go get the 120? That is 5 factorial, which is nothing but 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, right? And this is going to give 120. This simple program we have to write. The moment I say 5 factorial, this means what? 5 factorial, we can also write in this way: 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5, right? So it's the same thing. Both are the same thing. Whether I write 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, or I write 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So one thing is clear: if I'll have a I variable, okay, and if I start from 1, I need to multiply, and I can increment this number till how much? Till n. Right? N is what? N. So I will be incremented till n, till I is less than equal to n. I'll just increment this number by 1. Okay. In every step, I will increment the number of I by 1. And then every number I must multiply and I must save somewhere. So let's see how we will going to do this particular program. Here what I'll say, I'll just declare one fact variable, and I initialize by 1, and I declare one I variable. Okay, I variable. This is semicolon. So I'll say, okay, one more variable we will declare, that is n, that we're going to take from the user. So n. Now we'll ask printf, enter any number. Scanf. Sorry. Scanf ampersand n. We got we got the number from the user. I told you that if the number is, let's say, 5, then we must write this 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5, right? So we'll declare one I variable which will run from 1 to up to that number. So we're going to use for loop. For I is equal to 1, I is less than equal to n up to that number, and in every step we will increment I by 1. Okay. So we are starting from 1 and we are going up to that particular number, and in every step we are incrementing I by 1. Now what we will do, when the number is 1, when the i's value is 1, we're going to first store that. We will write in this way: fact is equal to fact into I. So what I have done, fact I have initialized to 1. Okay, 1. So if I say first time, what will happen? First time I will be initialized by 1, and since 1 is less than equal to 5, let's say n is 5, and it will check 1 is less than equal to 5. Yes, it will go over here and it will do what? It will just do what? Fact is equal to 1 into I value is 1. So 1 will get stored inside this fact variable. So it's very important to declare fact is equal to 1, because otherwise it will have a garbage value. So by some value you must initialize. You cannot initialize by 0, otherwise all the number, whatever number you will multiply by 0, everything will become 0, right? So if you multiply by 1, that first number, this first number I value will get stored inside this fact variable. Now we can multiply rest of the number. So what will happen after the execution of this particular statement? I will be incremented by 1 because we have written I plus plus. Now I will become 2. So it will check whether 2 is less than equal to 5. Yes, the condition is true. It will go over here. Now it will do what? Fact is equal to fact into. So 1 into I value this time is 2. So 2 will be stored inside this fact. Now I will be incremented by 1, I will become 3. Now it will check whether 3 is less than equal to 5. Yes, it will go over here. It will execute fact is equal to fact into, so fact previous value is 2 multiplied by I value is what, 3, so 6. Okay, I will be incremented by 1, I will become 4. Now this time it will check whether 4 is less than equal to 5. Yes, 4 is less than 5, and it will come over here, this particular statement. It will execute what, 6 into 4. This is what, 24, right? Now I will be incremented by 1, I will become 5. So it will check whether 5 is less than equal to 5. 5 is not less than, but 5 is equal to 5. And will come over here, it will execute this one more time. And this time it will be fact is equal to 24 into I value is what, 5, and this will be 120. Now I will be incremented by 1, I will become 6. Now it will go over here, it will check whether 6 is less than equal to 5. No, condition is not satisfied, it has become false. So this statement will not be executed, and it will come out from this particular loop. The moment it will come out from this particular loop, what we are observing that inside fact variable, we are having this 120 answer. And then from after this particular loop, we will say printf factorial is percent d fact. So we just displayed that answer, okay, which is there inside the fact. So it will going to display the factorial of a number. So I hope all of you must have understood this simple program. If you are having any doubt, please ask me. Yes, all of you. Whether any doubt is there? Okay. Let's see one concept that is called as swapping of a number. So let's say I am having A is equal to 5, B is equal to 10. So what I want that after swapping, that is the final answer should be what? B should have value 5 and A should have value 10, right? So we are just swapping the numbers of A and B. This I want. Okay. Now this can be done by two ways. Not only two ways, there are multiple ways to do this particular program. But I'll try to tell you the two different ways, and by yourself you can explore many multiple ways are there which are much faster than these two ways. So the one way is by using temporary variable, okay. Second, by using, so not by using, without using, sorry, without using temporary variable, So let me explain this by two different ways. Okay, so we are having in A 5 and B 10. What I'll do, I'll take one temporary variable 10, let's say, and what I'll say, see, basically A is what over here is 5, right, and B is over here 10 in the memory. What I want that A ka value should go on this B place, and this should become 5. The moment I'll put at B's place, this value will be overwritten. Okay, 10 will be overwritten, and B will have the 5, and A will also have the 5. So I don't want that B should lose the value. So what I can do, I can store this value of A inside some other variable. So I'll do what? I'll store A ka value inside this temp variable first. Okay. Once I will store this a value inside this temp variable, so temp will have 5. Now I can overwrite on this a value because a value I have already preserved in other variable. So I'll now write what? First I'll write temp is equal to a. So I have preserved a value, temp will become 5. Okay, temp will become 5. So temp has become 5. Now, since I have stored this a value inside this temp, so over this particular place, we can override because we have preserved a's value. Now I will write a is equal to b. So once we will write this a is equal to b, now a will take 10 value, right? So it doesn't matter because a value will be overwritten, right? So at place of 5, 10 will be overwritten, but it doesn't matter because we have already saved a value inside some other variable. Now what we will do, we will say b is equal to this temp because a value we are having inside this temp. We'll say b is equal to temp, right? And what we will observe that b will now become 10, and then after that we can just print the values of a and b, right? And this is the concept by using what? A temporary variable. So you can use one temporary variable, you can store one of the variable value inside the temporary variable, then that value you can store inside some other I mean the in the first variable, and first variable value you can I mean the temp value you can insert in the second variable. So this is simple way by using one temporary variable you can just swap the values. Then the second case is what? Without using the temporary variable. So without using the temporary variable, what you can do, we are having over here a is equal to 5, b is equal to 10. I'll first write a is equal to a plus b. So if I'll write a is equal to a plus b, inside a what I'll be having 5 plus 10, right? I'll be having 15. So inside a I'll be having 15. Then I am saying b is equal to a minus b. So if I'll say b is equal to a minus b, inside b what I'll be having? So a is what? A is now 15. 15 minus b is what? 10. So this will give me what? 5. So inside b I'll be having what? 5. Then I'll say a is equal to a minus b. So if I'll say a is equal to a minus b, a is what? Still 15. 15 minus b is what? 5. So minus 5, and then a has become what? 10. So before this operation a was 5, b was 10, but after this operation we are observing that b has become 5 and a has become 10. So here I have not used any temporary variable, and with the help of only these two variable, we are able to swap both the values. So this is a simple program, a swapping of two values, right? First method was with by using the temporary variable, one extra variable. This temporary variable you can have any variable like x, y, z, whatever name you want to give. I'm just taking one extra variable. Over here, I'm not taking any extra variable. Without using extra variable, I'm just able to swap the values. Okay. Okay, then this much for today's. Then we'll see tomorrow a lot more problems. Okay, and we'll also try to solve the entire question bank.